Hello everyone, welcome back to Animation Station. I'm going to start showing anything and everything animation, including a sponge that lives in a pineapple under the sea, including TVs and movies as well. I'm your host, Jackson Small. Welcome to the bottom of the barrel. This might be the worst double feature we have to do all month, because we have 2 episodes that are outright trash. And I'm not talking like just bad, no. This is abysmal trash we have to talk about today. And not only is it 1 trash episode, it is 2 trash episodes. 2 bottom of the barrel episodes that are so bad, so awful, so tedious, so trash, so garbage, so unwatchable that there's not going to be a ranking at the end of this one. Because they're both in shame and neither of them deserves to be above the other, because they both suck. The episodes we have to talk about today is To Love a Patty and Breath of Fresh Squidward. Yeah, that infamously creepy episode that they treated like a special, even though it's not a special. And a Squidward torture porn, arguably the worst one. Oh boy, okay. Well, you know what, let's just get it over with, because there's no highlights for this one, because this is just going to be a straight up rant. Let's get in the trash bag number 1, shall we? Welcome one and all to one of the most abysmal episodes in all of SpongeBob. One of the most infamously abysmal episodes in all of SpongeBob. Like, this is an episode that everyone already knows is bad. It is an episode that everyone knows was just an overhyped range trap. It is an episode that everyone knows is just creepy fan fiction. But what if I told you that it's even worse than you've heard? What if I told you that this episode sucks so hard that it only gets worse every time you watch it? I've seen this episode at least 6 times now, and every time I liked it a little less, to the point where I hate it. I despise it. And I point to it as one of the prime examples that this series went downhill. So, this is going to be a rant. Both of these episodes are going to be a rant. So, let's just get it over with so we never have to talk about either of these piles ever again. In this abysmal episode of SpongeBob, SpongeBob falls in love with a Krabby Patty. At first, it seems like a funny little parody of romance movies, right? The chick flicks that so many of us are sick of. But it devolves into being creepy. When he turns away his friends, they throw in a terrible garbage song. And the ending is just gross. I don't even have a highlight because no part of this episode isn't either infuriating or puke-inducing. Look, SpongeBob falling in love with a patty, you could take this in a very goofy way, and you could have made it something really funny. The concept was not dead on arrival. But the problem is, they don't treat it like a joke. They treat it like it's a serious relationship. And it's just disgusting. I mean, the grilled shoe line is okay, I guess, but it doesn't really save this episode in the slightest bit. I mean, I do like the message that Krabs gives at the end, but then SpongeBob sees out of his delusion and eats this moldy, disgusting Krabby Patty instead of throwing it in the trash. Right there, first few times I saw that, I wanted to puke my guts out into the nearest bathroom. It was that disgusting. This episode is disgusting, vile, and just awful. Downright unwatchable, I'd say. It's only gotten worse every time I see it, and I highly recommend that you stay far away from it. Final verdict is a 0 out of 10. It is one of the worst episodes of modern SpongeBob. It's one of the worst episodes of SpongeBob, period. And it is an episode that only sucks more and more every time you're forced to sit through it. This is the 6th time I've watched it, and it's the last time I've watched it. So, from the bottom of my heart, this episode. Yeah, there's swearing in this. deal with it, because these episodes are so bad that I cannot keep my rage in check. Alright, trash bag number 2. Let's get it over with. This is possibly the worst of all the Squidward torture porns. And keep in mind, we're not even through half of these yet. Because there are so many of them, not only later in this season, but there's also ones in 6, 7, and 8. Heck, even in 9, and even one episode in season 11. Like, there has been a lot of Squidward torture porns. A lot of them. And this might just be the worst one. Because it's one that promises so much and yet gives so little. So, after SpongeBob and Patrick annoying Squidward to his limit, he puts up an electric fence. But somehow, the electric fence doesn't work, because they still get in anyway. So Squidward touches the fence, and electrocutes himself, which SpongeBob and Patrick are completely oblivious to, because they're just idiots in this episode. But this changes Squidward's entire personality to the point where he becomes a better SpongeBob than SpongeBob. And I mean that in a good way. It's nice to see Squidward, well, happy. And even SpongeBob can see that Squidward's a lot happier. And honestly, if it was just that, it wouldn't be so bad. Like, think about it. An episode where Squidward finally gets to be happy. But no. Of course not, because the episode wants you to think that Squidward, despite finally having happiness in his life, needs to be treated like a creep. And SpongeBob becomes so out of character jealous with Squidward, just for Squidward trying to help him at work. Squidward wins Employee of the Month, he has a birthday party which he invites SpongeBob to, and SpongeBob is still crying, itching, and moaning about how he's not Employee of the Month and how Squidward is not at all better than him and some other stupid crap. He just acts like a selfish brat, is what I'm getting at. And what makes it worse is that this is the episode where SpongeBob is closest to being back to his original personality. Like, I kid you not, in this episode, he acts a lot like pre-movie SpongeBob. Up to the point of the stupid, selfish bullcrap that's wildly out of character. But outside of that, I mean, he acts like pre-movie SpongeBob, and it's actually pretty interesting. And the episode's like, it had me interested. I'm like, okay, maybe this won't be so bad. And then the ending happened, where SpongeBob kicks Squidward out of his own party. It's being thrown in Patrick's house, by the way, so in other words, SpongeBob had no right to do that. The party goes on without him, showing how everyone didn't care at all. And the episode ends with him just being back to normal by electrocuting himself again. And in the process, not only does he get turned back to normal, but SpongeBob and Patrick get turned into Squidwards too. And unlike Opposite Day, it's not funny. And that's the episode. It's an episode that promises so much. It promises so much, but it gives you so very little. It could have been something good, but they decided to just make it a Squidward torture porn instead, have SpongeBob act wildly out of character and act like a spoiled, ignorant brat, and have the episode end on the most infuriating moment imaginable. Dude, screw this episode. And seriously, let Squidward be happy in one of these episodes for fuck's sake. I am so sick and tired of the guy being treated like crap. So, yeah, it's the worst of the Squidward torture porns, but it's far from the last one we have to talk about. Because there are some really bad ones in seasons to come. Heck, even in this season, there are still really bad ones. But this is the worst one, because it tricks you into thinking that it's not a Squidward torture porn, and that it's an episode that might actually be decent, and let Squidward be happy, and then it just smacks you in the face. This episode's garbage. It's trash, it's awful, and it's downright unwatchable. Don't be tricked like I did. I recommend that you avoid this episode like the freaking plague. Final verdict for this one is also a 0 out of 10. Yeah, a double 0. I told you, this is a rough review we have to do today. Probably the roughest we have to do all month. It sucks, it's garbage, it sucks, it's trash, it sucks. Trash episode. Both of these are trash. Now let's get to final thoughts. I'm not doing a ranking because screw both of these pieces of trash. That was probably the worst episode review I've had to do out of all these SpongeBob months. Because I think that's the first time I've ever had to do a 00 in an episode review. Because usually at least one is decent or okay, and sometimes great. But no, this was the definition of bottom of the barrel. They're sister episodes, and they both suck just as hard as the other. They're both among the worst episodes of Modern SpongeBob. They're both among the worst episodes of the entire series. And they're both episodes that deserve nothing but shame. Both these episodes suck. Both of them are trash. And I highly recommend that you don't watch either one of them. They're just as bad as you've heard, if not even worse. They both suck. They're both trash. And I will see you in the next episode review.
We cannot take it anymore. The time has come to go. Prepare to fight we're ready for.